Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to talk about this video that I saw recently, which summarizes everything I have gone through in my life with different family people I dated and what my 44 years of life has been like. And because New Year is beginning, and in this new year I do not want my life to be in any way reminiscent of any of these things in an imbalanced manner, because this video that talks about simple requests being rejected by partners or family, it is about partners, but because it's a twin flame related channel, so it's talking about partnerships where simple requests are accepted or denied. But it's a equally true principle of life in any of our core relationships in our life, where when people's simple requests are ignored or continuously ignored or not understood, or deliberately people sabotage it, it's are all the elements that lead to actual cruelty in relationships and covert abuse or manipulation and psychological abuse related relationships. Because if people are unaware about your requests and why it is important for you to request a certain thing to them, of them, at that time point you can forgive those who are unaware or unconscious. But there are many people who are not unaware, who aren't unconscious, who do understand the importance of a simple request, but they do not still are able to fulfill that or meet that request, even if it is in their capacity to meet that request. And the time when people do that, that is when covert abuse or manipulative abuse happens in a relationship, where partners deliberately will not listen to someone else because of their ego or because of their lack of understanding about their partner's needs, because of their lack of willingness to meet their partner's needs. And these are all the reasons why I have mentioned in my videos many and in my Facebook posts also, I post about these issues, where I have spoken about childhood abuse, childhood neglect, and people who have not undergone these situations in their life do not understand why it is abusive and neglectful when even simple requests are not met by anyone. When I was a child, there are many moments, and actually it's a lucky thing that there are actually very few moments that universe ensured that I would not be unhealthy. Not only universe, my own nature got structured around this fact, because when I was a simple child and I fell down while skating with friends and got a bruise in my knees, and my friends brought me home. It was really strange, but this is what happened in my family, where after I got the bruise, while my friends were more concerned about me getting hurt inside my home, because they dropped me off at my mother's. At that time my mother was in the house, so while they dropped me off in my home, what is the natural thing people assume? That you've dropped off this person to their parents, so their parents are going to take care of their needs. But even though I was only about 8 or 9 years, or maybe maximum 10 years old at that time, no one took care of my needs. And even before that, universe knows that my mother is not going to take care of my needs. So actually speaking, that day my mother actually pushed me to go and do skating, and I was afraid to go and do skating. I knew that if I do the skating, I would fall and get hurt because of the slopey area, and because of the fact that I don't know how to skate, and just learning in a slopey area would be a very bad thing to practice. And this intuitive guidance I got. Why? Because the universe knows certain things about my future, my angels know certain things about my future, so they guide me this way unknowingly, which is called a claircognizance capacity, there where people guide those people who are unsupported in their normal human life by the humans in their life. They get this extrasensory ability sometimes, in order to prevent them from going through something disastrous, where universe knows that no one will support them in a way or heal them in a way or help them in a way that they need help, or even if someone does end up helping them, it will be a very bare minimum help. So though I didn't want to go up the slope and do skating, and because my mother insisted, because my friends insisted, I went ahead. And as soon as I went ahead, I did fall down. There was a cycle that zoomed past us that also aided in my falling down and getting injured. So both the skating and a cycle passing us, both combined, led to my injury. And then when I went inside the home, my friends took care of me from the I was only 2 minutes walking distance from my home, so they took me all the way to my home. But in my home life, there was no one who treated me, there was no one who comforted me, there was no one who put anything on the wound because I was injured. All my mother did was clean it up in the water, or use some Dettol to clean it. That is all she told me, and that is all I had to do. And yes, a 10-year-old child is capable of doing it by themselves. 8 to 10-year-old child is old enough to do it. But it's not that my mother had anything going on in her life. She was not a busy working mother. She was not having whatever it was going on with her. She was just simply not a involved mother. And this mother was actually very different from the mother I had before, the mother I remember when I was a child, like a toddler. So I know that something also happened in my life where the parent who raised me as a toddler, or the kind of love I felt from a parent when I was a toddler, had actually changed in my life afterwards. And I know that my mother changed. Whether her personality changed or the person itself changed, I can't tell, because you can't have the memories of when you're a child. You don't know the difference whether the person has changed or the soul energy, something about their emotions has changed. Both could have been possible. In my dreams, I know that I feel that the person had changed, but in reality, there is no proof about that, because I never, when you are going through some life experience as a child, you are just simply going through that experience. You're just witnessing the experience or experiencing that experience, not knowing what exactly are you experiencing. And like that, there are many other sociopathic, psychopathic, narcissistic, or neglect filled, abuse related things that continuously happened in my childhood days for many years. But in these things only, I understood very easily. It is very easy for me to understand when someone really cares about someone in a deeper level, and when someone doesn't really truly care about another person at a deeper level, because these smaller requests that this video is talking about is the essence of neglect being present or absent in a relationship. So neglect happens when a thing that someone can easily do for someone else, a thing that not only can you do easily for another person, but also something which you are used to doing for another person, if you're not able to do it as a normal part of the functional role and responsibility you have taken, then you are essentially being neglectful. So if someone is at that point of time present in my life as a parent, it doesn't matter whether they were my biological parent, they were a caretaker, they were forced to be there to be a parent, they were coerced to be there as a parent, whatever is the reason why they were there as a parent, or they had some other challenges going on with them, because of which they are not able to caretake the parental responsibility in the right way. Whatever was the reason, the ensuing thing was they couldn't be a good parent. There's another story that universe only led me to these stories. I do not go searching for any of these videos that I post here on Facebook or on my social media and YouTube. These are all links that have just got sent to me, and if they resonate for me for a theme that I need to speak about, I then speak about those themes. So I don't think of a theme and then go searching for any videos. Whatever comes to me, if it connects in a particular manner for me, then I post about those videos, or if it's reminiscent of something that I know I can talk about this topic, then I speak about that topic, thinking it would help someone else also going through these similar scenarios. So in the second video that I was guided towards, in that video there is the guy who finds out that his wife had been cheating on him. He didn't know that. He was a very loyal partner, and he had raised a son for many years thinking that he is his son, but suddenly in his a few years after marriage he also had a second child, and later on he found out that both the son and the daughter are not biologically his. So obviously imagine the betrayal of someone who has been married to someone for, let's say, 5 or 10 years or longer, and after that if you find out that while you were loyal to your partner was not loyal to you, it is a very heartbreaking thing. And not only heartbreaking, but it's also very a disillusionment created thing, that someone whom you trust to be loyal with you, because you are loyal with them. It goes without saying that if you have been loyal with your partner also should be equally loyal towards you. But if your partner is not equally loyal towards you, had some secret past that they didn't talk about which led to this disloyalty, whatever it was, strapping someone else's child as your child is a very big betrayal for any human being, be it for a man, be it for a woman. So at that point of time he felt betrayed, and that's why he left his family and he went and separated from his wife. And then it was he is asking for advice online, because he's one the child is the boy was been older naturally for 5-10 years, possibly knew him as a dad. So he wants to connect to his father continuously because he misses his father. For him, that is the only father figure he knows. So he wants to connect to his dad, he wants to meet his dad, and he's crying about his dad. But this guy is not able to overcome the betrayal he felt from his wife to go and now be with that child. And at this point of time, when he is not able to overcome the betrayal trauma, while the man is also hurting greatly, now being an adult, he should, and having raised this person as his son, there is a choice that this guy now has, the choice of 3 different paths. One path being completely going no contact with the son, which is what this video seems to indicate, that he has got no contact with the son he has raised as a son. Because even if he was not biologically his son, if emotionally he had really been involved in that child's life as a father, and he really loved that child, irrespective of the biological bonding, he would have been able to be a good father to him despite the wife's betrayal, right? Or he has the potential to be a good father. So one thing is going no contact because he is too hurt about his feelings and he doesn't want to get involved in that child's life. Second part he could have done was and he would do the no contact is necessary definitely to be no contact with his wife, because the wife is the one who has been cheating on him, right? And the second thing is, while the no contact is necessary, maybe he could also try to understand the child's perspective, because right now the child, when the father is gone away, is possibly experiencing child neglect. And that is going to happen at 2 levels. Firstly, because a new baby was introduced in the family, that already adds to some neglect. Secondly, because of the conflict between the parents, now that also will add to more child neglect, because child caretaking responsibilities now would fall on the mother completely. And thirdly, the child neglect is the emotional neglect, where emotionally he was so dependent on this father that he doesn't have any more in his life. So if the father is able to, he's not the biological father, but let's assume he's similar to a adoptive father role for that child. So being that adoptive father role for this child, if this dad now decides someday to go and go and visit the son occasionally outside of meeting his wife, because if he doesn't want to meet his wife, there could be some arrangement done where, if his in-laws are around, or if he has siblings who can pick up the child for him from the mother's place, some arrangement like that he could make, or he could pick up the child from the school so that he doesn't have to meet the mother in the school. If he can make such an arrangement, meet the child at least once a month or once a year. That way the child will not feel at least the great emotional neglect related thing that the child is feeling, because the child is dependent on the father, while the father may not be dependent on the child. A child is always going to be, if you have taken the responsibility of child, irrespective of whatever reason, whether someone cheated you and duped you into thinking that that is your child, whether you adopted the child, whether that child was your biological child, irrespective of all these scenarios, if you have taken up the responsibility of someone as a child, if you do not fulfill, it is a soul contract now you have signed at the spiritual level of taking care of that person. And that soul contract now, when you will know about that betrayal, depends on many other factors as well. But this child was always meant to be in this man's life as a son figure, and his role was a soul contract to be a father figure for that son. The extent at which he will be able to do it will determine the father's karma with that son. But if he goes completely no contact, he has failed at his karma with that son. But if he manages to do occasional contact with the son and overcome the hatred or disgust or betrayal and other emotions he's feeling towards the mother, and keeping the mother's equation aside, if he still continues a little bit of a bonding with the child occasionally, then he is fulfilling some soul contract related to that son's upbringing. Because there is a reason why, if you believe in God, if you believe in spirituality, if you believe the fact that you have a life purpose on earth, then you have to understand that your life purpose is determined by the circumstances only of your life. And a difficult circumstance like this is a circumstance, while the major circumstance is a very difficult circumstance related to spousal betrayal and other traumas related to that, related to trust, the minor level life lessons were related to that child. And in loving the child, or if he truly has the capacity to love the wife as well despite her cheating, these are also some ancillary things that could come up in his life. Like, despite the cheating, are you ready to be with that person? If you had really loved that person, it could be a test from God whether you were truly in love with this person when they cheated. Are you still continue loving them in some manner? And at that time, if your relationship was actually based on very superficial things of just attraction towards a partner, or the love that is just based on the fact that if you meet my conditions in life, I will be a good husband, but if you don't meet my conditions, I can't be a good husband. So that if we have that kind of a attitude in our life partnership with someone, then obviously working a relationship with them is not going to work. And it's very difficult also. It's not a very easy job to forgive a partner if they have cheated. It's not an easy job to go over the betrayal trauma, and the soul contract might be only for him to walk away from this family's life at the time point at which he is walking away from their life. But how much he walks away is determines his soul journey, his karmic life lessons. So if he walks away no contact, he has completely taken away the responsibility and the potential he had of loving a stranger's child. That potential he couldn't fulfill, because that is part of our life journey of many of us on earth. Like, how don't you sometimes adore your nephews and nieces? They are not your biological children, but even them not being your biological children or your friends' kids, you may still be emotionally having a good bond with your friends' kids or your siblings' children, right? So that bonding that you have the capacity to create with a stranger's child, sometimes they are biologically related, sometimes they are not biologically related. You have that equal potential to have that kind of a relationship with a partner also whose child you have raised as your son. So in the other two scenarios, the neutral scenario would be occasionally he can still continue having contact with the child, give the child the right emotional support to transition from, you can get away from the child's life, but allow the easing of getting away from the child's life in a slow manner, in such a way that slowly you end the relationship than abruptly ending the relationship where suddenly there's a soul shock to a young child, because that is also very hurtful, like how you got a soul shock because your partner cheated on you. Imagine now a younger child facing that same issue, because for him you are the father, and for any child it doesn't matter who raised them, whether it's a biological parent or a non-biological parent. For most children, even the worst kind of parents are a role model for them, and they are emotionally and deeply connected with that person. Like in my life, my mother and father, they both didn't care about me in many ways. I have faced multiple instances of child abuse and child neglect of the kind which are like how this video talks about, when partners don't meet your requests. So it's like that, like it's, if you go and if you're injured and you're talking to a parent about your injury, your parent has no capacity to address your injury in either a physical manner, like with me both physical injuries were not addressed. If I have a harrowing experience, like in India, if you're a girl who has existed in a city like Mumbai, you or other cities of India, you know that girls get harassed very easily on the streets in India. So if you get harassed and molested in the streets, or some harassment happened at your workplace, all of these things happened throughout my childhood, and they were very few instances only, like someone else who had probably protective parents or better quality parents, they likely might have faced more instances of these kind of abuse than I did. Why? Because while, let's say there are two girls and one girl faced 3 instances of molestation in 1 year, another girl faced 1 instance, why is the one who's facing 3 versus the other one facing 1? The one who has faced 3 instances, if they have safer family to talk to, safer social circle to address their molestation related issues or harassment related issues, and they are a shy person, women are also very shy usually about talking about these abuse related things that happened in their life. So if you're also a shy person, or women are expected also to keep quiet about the pain that they have endured, so many women also keep quiet. So in order for that shy person to speak up, the person who's got a lot of endurance capacity to speak up, they do tend to speak up only when enough instances has happened to them when they will be able to speak up. And God knows that if they have supportive family, if they speak up, that supportive family or social groups will take the affirmative action or take the right action to ensure that they don't get abused anymore or harassed anymore, or teach them safety related factors to ensure that they are not abused or harassed anymore. But in my life, I didn't have that childhood where even mentioning one instant didn't cause anyone to give me the right teachings or provide me the emotional safety to physical safety to psychological safety about anything that I have endured in my life. And this was a consistent theme in my childhood since childhood days. Even in adulthood, it's been a consistent theme, where even if I have gone till danger levels of something really bad manifesting in my life, even at the dangerous worst phases of my life, I haven't had anyone to fall back on to help me except God or my own devices or guides who have subtly been guiding me towards not doing something that would be harmful. So that day when I was a child of 9-10 years, when I fell down, universe guided me, don't do this activity. not only on that day, previous days also, when we were much younger, my friends used to slide down easily slopes with filled with we had drains in which my friends used to very easily slide down the drain and have fun in the rainy season. Our building was a newly created area, so the drains were mostly clean. It had only milder mold in those drains, so every one of my friends used to have fun sliding down those slippery, because a little bit of mold and algae is forming in those drains. They are just sliding down that to have the fun of a slide, but it's a wet water slide created naturally by the environmental conditions of that area. So while my friends were enjoying that, I rarely sat and did that. One time I tried it and I felt wet, and I knew that if I fell sick again, it was a protective instinct that came from God, that I shouldn't do this, because I knew that if I fell sick again, there was no one in my house who would actually take care of me in a meaningful manner. There were times when my friends used to climb trees so easily and enjoy climbing a tree just for the fun of climbing a tree. There was a tree where it had these weird fruits. We used to enjoy, my friends used to enjoy eating. I used to enjoy eating. I was hyper vigilant again over there, because again, if I eat that fruit and I fell sick, I know I would not be taken care of in the right way. If I fell down and I broke my hands, I knew there would be no one who would actually caretake me when I broke anything. So from childhood days only, I have been accident averse, risk averse and accident averse in a great way, where either my intuition tells me to not do it, or if my intuition is not active at that time, some other force tells me do not do this activity. So for many things in my life, I have always been risk averse, and that's why only if my psychological abuse related videos you have watched, or how covert abuse manifests in those videos if you have watched, I understand those concepts very easily. It's very easy for me to pick up a covert abuser's patterns, or a psychological abuser and financial abuser or manipulator's patterns, because of this simple fact that I have constantly been abused or manipulated for some reason that I don't know about. Why the reasoning that no one personally told me why that is happening to me, but slowly I had to piece together the puzzles of the life related to people not caring, people not even ready to meet simple requests, people deliberately, when they are abusers or manipulators, not only will not meet your requests, they will also add to the opposite of your requests. So on this first DMDF video related to love relationships, where it talks about how simple requests are something, if someone takes your simple requests up, it shows whether how much invested they are in the relationship, how the depth of the connection they want to build in the relationship. Why? Because life is going to be like that. These simple requests, it will be about a simple request that if I've come from work and I'm tired and I need a glass of water, I can have that safety and a comfort to ask the spouse that can you give me a glass of water. Or if I have come from if I have a sprained ankle and I can't move around much, I do have a partner who will at least bring me some food. Even if they don't want to date me daily, at least on the day they are dating me, they can at least bring me some good food, healthy food that will help me heal. But I didn't have those partners. So there were very many, and I didn't even, because I didn't have those partners, I didn't have those families, I don't even request them for anything except the bare minimum thing I need help with, even when I am drowning in things that I don't know how to fix, because they are high level problems that can't be fixed at a simple one intervention level. And this is also the same reason why when I was working as a pharmacist in US, I was very good at problem solving many things at the same time. So in that work front, I am very easily able to detect problems, identify what is the root source of a problem, and then resolve that problem when it is a manageable problem, and it is a problem that is fixable by me. So I've always believed that the serenity prayer that I put in many of my posts, I have put it there because I actively work on that, on working on the problems that I can fix. I will fix it. The problems that I realize I can't fix, I have to release it to God. And the wisdom to, and the development of that wisdom of what is the problem I can fix and what is the problem I can't fix. I'm constantly have been dealing for at least 44 years of my life, or 40 years of my life. This theme has consistently repeated in my life. So in relationships, when you ask your partner to, for example, this is a common theme that men sometimes, because of their ego, like to post pictures of ex-girlfriends or post pictures with people they know are interested in them, and they think it is a funny thing, even if their girlfriend tells them to not post pictures with these people, or if the girlfriend has a radar now. If you have been a girl like me who has been raised in a family like this, where like what are this clear cognizance that I'm talking about, that these people are interested in your man. So obviously the man also has to become aware of it. When will the man be aware about it? The man will be aware about it in a relationship when they are ready to be equally invested in the relationship, and they are ready to set the appropriate boundary where apart from the partner that they are dating, other women should not be partner like ego boosting anything for them. So they shouldn't need another person's a photograph with 10 women to show their manly ego. They shouldn't need multiple women to admire them for their role as a man, because if you have a partner, you're only meant to be the man for that partner. You're not meant to be the man for the rest of the world. For the rest of the world, your manliness should be about everything related to the rest of the world's paradigms, but not about one-on-one relationship where you have to have, this is the principle that I believe on, you don't, a man or a woman. And I am also very, very, very risk averse of men also. I do not like men touching me if they are not related to me. Even essentially any man shouldn't be touching me except my spouse, or any man who's a doctor who has to touch me for doctor related, medication related things. If they are touching me, those are the only two kinds of men I will allow to touch me or have a physical contact with me. One time I was crying and a friend's husband wanted to console me, but I knew that if he consoles me, the wife will feel very jealous about it. I immediately set a boundary, because even though I know that he was being very brotherly towards me at that point of time when I was grieving about something, I didn't want him to touch me because I knew his wife would get instantly jealous. And it was a new relationship. Like if they were really my real brother, maybe I would have allowed them to touch me and console me. But even then, if they are not my real brother, if they are just a friend, in casual friend relationships, why do you need to touch? You can console someone else without touching them, or touching them in a way which will be inappropriate for the wife, especially if you don't console your wife also when the wife is crying or the wife is needing help. Because this is the problem of modern marriages, where wives sometimes, why do wives get jealous? Wives get jealous because if you are, many men want to be the heroes in front of other women of their lives, so they will go and become the hero of another person, and simple requests of their friends and co-workers or sisters or mothers, everyone's simple requests are met by the man, but they are unable to keep those similar level to complex level requests of a partner. And a partner is being sent to you in your life by God, so that you are able to, with that partner only, you are supposed to work on the simple things to the complex things of life. But if at the simplest level only, where just the boundary you should set with a co-worker, why should a co-worker be touching you and being flirty with you or being touchy-feely with you? Attraction is something we all can get attracted to 10 different human beings, 100 different human beings. But the boundary of a relationship is, if you're in a committed relationship, why do you need 10 or 100 or 1,000 or million people to find you attractive? why do you need that? Even if you are the world's, most famous personality in the world for some reason or the other, maybe you're a sports player, maybe you are a actor, maybe you're a singer, maybe you are a movie producer, maybe you are a businessman, maybe you are a politician, whatever is the reason, why do you need the acknowledgement of your manliness from anyone other than your spouse and anyone other than just the family that you are providing for the rest of the world? Your manliness doesn't come up in the same way, it shouldn't be coming up, but this is the thing men don't realize. And same way with women, there are women also who do this, who need acknowledgement and attention from multiple men in their life, and they want constant praise from multiple men. But why do you need that? If you are in a committed relationship, that praise is not needed, that attention is not needed, the manipulation of other whatever else is also not needed, as long as you have a stable healthy relationship. But the moment you are not ready to create a stable healthy relationship, you will seek this attention from outside your partner's people, and your attention will constantly be divided by those people. And if you are that kind of a person whose attention is constantly divided at saving other people, there's another video where I'm not going to reference that video, but there was a girl who was getting married, and this guy's best friend from for many years is also a woman, and she's constantly been creating drama in their relationships over the years for many things. And even on the day of the wedding, she calls the boyfriend up saying that she's in an accident, or she gets suicidal or something weird happens, and he gets called by the cops to go and now help that woman. Now that is a very toxic pattern, that on your wedding day, why is this guy the only one being called to help her not commit suicide? Is he responsible for that other woman? And if he wants to take the responsibility of that other woman, why does he need two women's responsibilities? He should date that other girl. If that girl is not his sibling, even if that girl was his sibling, there are manipulative people who will create these dramas on the time when you are supposed to be taken care of. On a wedding day, your only focus should be on your bride and on the wedding. And if at the wedding, when some accident happens and you are supposed to caretake someone, and an accident that has not been a manipulated, artificially created accident, that discernment you have to understand, that whether someone is creating, that was a false drama created by that friend, and that woman ended up not marrying that guy because she gave him an ultimatum: if you go and rescue this woman, I'm not going to, because she knew that the other woman was creating drama. Because some women are like that, they will create drama in relationships, women or men. They want this extra drama. That man is also dramatic, that's why only for him being a rescuer to a woman is more important than being the guy who will wear a tuxedo and say romantic vows to the person. So obviously the romantic vows is not exciting for him, that is not romantic for him. So because it is not romantic for him, it is more romantic for him to go and be the swashbuckling rescuer to a woman. So that's why the drama related woman only keeps attracting him more. And it's a good thing that this girl decided not to marry. I don't know whether it was a good thing that she instead chose to marry someone else, but whatever it was, these are the kind of things women and men deal with in relationships, where they know that if you have clear cognizance, or if you have more other intuitive things going on with you, even if there is no actual sexual thing going on between two people, there could be emotional cheating going on, there could be real sexual cheating going on, there could be just the trajectory at which you are taking your life path journey. You are taking your life path journey towards cheating and cheating on your partner. So these things, if who is meant to set the boundary, is your partner an adult and are you an adult? So should both partners be setting these boundaries appropriately on their own? both people being adults should be setting these expectations and understanding of a relationship on their own. Because now, like, let's say this girl who was marrying this guy who wants this dramatic woman who's always wanting to commit suicide or always asking him to be her rescuer for some reason or the other, and he keeps chasing that woman who wants to be rescued while he's constantly going after her and trying to rescue her for whatever she is going through in real time. And in his real life, if his woman, the one he is marrying, if they had ended up marrying that day, whenever she needs any help, he will not be there for her. And women need actually help in many women and men both need each other in their lives for many reasons, depending on your soul purpose, life purpose, long term life plan that you have set up with God. You need each other for many reasons, and all the things at which she needs a partner, if he is not fulfilling all those things for which she needs a partner, then is there any reason a woman should marry that man? She shouldn't be marrying. Same way with a guy also, if the same thing happens to a guy, and it's in these small requests only you determine the path towards whether you are ready to be the partner that the partnership deserves, that the long-term goal and life plan of the partnership deserves. Because many of these things and as are necessary for understanding where the relationship is going, but these are also certain things that should happen inadvertently in a relationship, inadvertently. And this is how normal life should be. If you have a normal life, in a normal life you will date someone, you may have the initial romance and rosy phase with someone, but in the time when the rosy phase is cooling down, and in the time when some separation is happening because you're busy with work, busy with other priorities, in those moments only, when you're busy with work, busy with priorities, how are you prioritizing your partner's requests is the place where you actually make or break your relationship. So if your partner is tired, asking you to, can you heat the food in the microwave, and now maybe because partner has some dietary issues, she has told you to heat the food in a particular way, xyz 10 steps she has given, while for yourself, when you heat the food, you have only one step to do, and that's it. You just put it in the microwave, heat it, and that's it. But the partner being health conscious, maybe because I gave you my past history. Why? Because if no one has caretaken me, I have high degree of stress, high degree of trauma, high degree of neglect, high degree of constant awareness of stress causing circumstances in life, which means that, and when if consistently no one has been caretaking me, if no one has caretaken you since childhood, it's very likely even in your 30s or 40s, very few people are there to actually meaningfully caretake you. And at that time, if very few people or no people are there to meaningfully caretake you, you have to be risk averse, you have to be in a fitness level where no one needs to caretake you. You have to constantly be in that phase of life where even if you are falling sick, you know that even if your sickest level, there's no one to actually help you except you or God or some stranger helping you. And which is how I have survived for 40 years of my life, where either strangers have helped me or God has helped me, or whatever I have studied about health and healthcare has helped me, be it physical health, be it spiritual health. So I've constantly been relying on whatever is accessible to me, which is usually the barest minimum things, or have to look for finding those solutions. And it is exhausting to continuously look for solutions if there's no comfortable situation in life, no safer place in life to manage those situations in a healthy manner. So when there are stories about cancer patients, where if cancer patients are given if their family life is good or they do not have stress in their life, those patients have a better health outcome. Why? Because if you have stress in your life from emotional abuse, emotional neglect, or other things like spousal abuse, covert abuse, psychological abuse, financial distress, all of these can add to the stress, and there's no one to actually caretake you meaningfully. Obviously you're going to have a poorer health outcome. It will not be a safer health outcome because of the conditions that are not supporting good health. In order for any human being to actually thrive in life or survive through a dangerous phase in life, they have to be meaningfully supported in many areas. If you aren't supported in those areas, very few people miraculously are able to survive through, or even if you survive through, you will not have a complete revival, you will not have a complete status of health, and it will be very difficult for you to be at the same level as someone who has a lot of support, who has a lot of caretaking elements, stress relieving elements in their life. So at those point of time also, a woman is going to be hyper aware if the threat to the relationship is present amongst other people who are ready to cause a calamity in the relationship simply because they hate you, simply because they love your partner and want to. It's a fun thing for many women to want to covet someone else's partner and things like that. So and men also do that, women also do that. So that's why it is important to test your universe only tests your relationships via the smaller requests you send to your partner. If you say to your partner that with one of my partners, for me, I was dead tired because I was dieting. Also, I was tired because I was wanting to maintain a particular figure. I was tired because at that time I didn't realize it. Now I'm realizing it. Pest control was being done in the buildings at which I lived. So for 2-3 years, the continuous society pest control measures meant that I was exposed to pesticides regularly. And if you have been nutritionally challenged since childhood, along with that you have had pesticide exposures now, along with that you are also dieting and some nutritional deficiencies are happening, all of these combined can cause you to now be extremely tired after a 12, and then you have a 12-hour strenuous work day where all the 12 hours you were just continuously standing in a workplace, you're about to fall apart. And I had that kind of a job, and I had a clueless boyfriend who doesn't understand. In his job, all he does is sit around in front of a computer. Not only sit around, in their work environment, a college environment, everywhere just fun is involved. So out of 8-10 hours also, if those people are working, in those 8-10 hours only 4 or 6 hours of actual active work they are doing. The rest 4 or 6 hours, there's nothing. They're just simply having fun with each other, playing table tennis, watching movies, gossiping with each other. But I didn't have that work in healthcare in US. You don't have that work life. So you are consistently, continuously for 12 hours, just constantly on your toes doing things some days. So in those days when I'm relying on the boyfriend to come and pick me up, and that too a boyfriend who was using my car, which gave him 2 hours of extra relaxing time, and that person doesn't come to even pick me up on time for him if he has got 2 hours of free time, how difficult is it for him to arrive 5 minutes early or 10 minutes early? And for me, when I have been working for 12 hours constantly with not even 15 minutes break, how difficult is it for me to stand and wait for him for 10 minutes when I'm completely exhausted and tired? And there are not just the simple 12-hour work day that is tiring me, but there's all these background things which, despite being a boyfriend, he has never taken the time to ask me about my past life, about my present life, and doesn't even have the mindfulness to realize what is happening in a person in front of him. When the person in front of him is telling him that I need this, that you need to come on time to pick me up. And I may have given you one reason, but actually speaking, there are 10 reasons. But if something is important to your partner, why do you have to give them even 10 reasons or one reason? And this is the problem zone now. The trust that this video is talking about, the trust can't be built because I'm already exhausted. And it took me 45 minutes to talk about my past, which all is responsible for the tiredness I felt even 10 years back, the tiredness and illnesses I have even now. So those things that have taken a toll on my health for 30 years and 40 years of my life, if a partner doesn't even have when you're fighting with a partner and those argument times, can I have this conversation that took me 45 minutes to explain in this video? I can't have that conversation about things, and this is still a brief example of what all the things that I have gone through in life, and I don't even have. And are you a true partner when even when a person is giving you a glimpse, one slice of reason about what is going on with them at that time, if you don't trust your partner's instincts to understand that this is more important. And I literally eventually felt sick in that semester as a result of the exhaustion I was going through from all the other things that he wanted me to go and do with him and enjoy with him, which was enjoyable but yet not enjoyable because it was exhausting too, because I had too many other things on my plate. So for his enjoyment and entertainment, I couldn't I had because I wanted to focus and devote time and be fair in a partnership, and understood his personality, that this enjoyment is important to him, I gave in more than I could, and eventually I got so exhausted. Like, even though my finals week was going on, in my finals week there were so many classes where especially one class where a lot of work needed to be done, but that class's submission I completely flunked over it. I got so sick, I just couldn't literally get out of the bed, and that's when I realized that this relationship can't continue. And not only that did I realize it, but it started building resentment inside me. So obviously the resentment that was building, which I was not able to express, even if in 15-minute if a partner doesn't even give you 15 minutes of time, for him 2 hours of time spending with friends was more important than giving 15 minutes of conversation to a girlfriend. Or after having that conversation, also picking up the salient points of that 15-minute conversation was very difficult for him, or his thoughts and his logic was more important, his ego and his needs were more important. So is there any care there in the relationship? Is there any consideration there in the relationship? Is there any true love, a deep meaningful love possible in that relationship if continuously for simple things like come 5 minutes early to pick up, go and throw the trash, keep the bathroom clean, or equitably pay for certain things? All these things don't arise in a man's head for their relationship, because this is the consistent problem I've had with partners again and again and again and again from childhood days, from parents and other family also. Consistently this has happened, where simple requests are very hard for their egos to follow. Very simple requests that I do not have the energy, I do not want to do this activity, can we do this quicker? Because many a times there has been times where I didn't know I had these health issues, I didn't know I had some thyroid problems going on, I didn't know I had some cancer problems going on, I didn't know I had radioactive poisoning related problems going on, but all of which was manifesting. And if I'm going in a sunny area, my cousin is like, for her nothing is impacting her health, so she can easily go in the middle of a 12-hour hot sun and nothing happens to her health is not impacted. So because her health is not impacted, she takes us in trips where she will easily lounge around and swim around and do other things, relaxing things that is necessary for her to do. Everything is done according to whatever she wants to do. And then if I have to go and if in the hot sun, I'm now not able to stand the hot sun. At that time I didn't know why I can't stand the hot sun, why I'm having a health incidence as a result of the hot sun, when I can't, I get exhausted eating 2-hour meals because my body is already wrecked. And if my body is already wrecked, or since childhood days I've eaten only barely like a bird, can I eat like a pig in 40s? No. If you have eaten like a bird, like if you have only eaten this much bowl of food all your life, you cannot eat this much meals. But my cousin who has eaten this much meals, for her having that this much meals is important. And consistently I have allowed you to have this much meals in front of me, but it is irritating to me because you're sitting and having 2, 3, 4, 10-hour meals. I only want 15-minute meals and then I want rest. because after eating I get exhausted. I didn't know that, but these are all symptoms. Like if you have radioactive poisoning, if you have cancer developing in your body, if you have other health conditions prevalent in your body, and you have been used to only eating very less food all your life, you cannot have large meals. If you eat large meals, you will get sicker, and if you are sicker, obviously you are going to be crankier. So I would be crankier, and then I would be labeled as a villain in their lives. Whereas all they had to do was eat some days. The rest of the year you are eating 15-minute meal, half an hour meal. In 5 days of a vacation time, one day you can't eat a 1 hour meal. Every day you have to eat 3 hour meal. One day you can't eat a 15 minutes meal. Is it not possible? Like, for why do I have to always compromise and have 1 hour meal all the time, 2 hour, 4 hour meals? Whereas in those times I am also budget crunched person. I didn't earn as much as her, so I would go on these trips. And being a budget crunched person, for me, obviously optimizing every hour of the trip, doing something, is more valuable to me than sitting and lounging for 4 hours. So I couldn't do it. And there are an irony is, after all this, I have also traveled without that cousin on many of the trips, where even though I want to optimize my trips now, I am just doing trips to find out where I can eat good food, but not these heavy food or expensive food, but food that is good quality food. That is what good quality food, good quality stay, that is what I am searching for. Why? Because in my home life I don't have it, in my family life I don't have it, and I know I have cancer, but even though I know I have cancer, I can't go, and I'm not ready to go and get tested for it, because I don't have a place or a person who will take care of me if I actually get that diagnosis. Even though partial diagnosis happened, I just didn't take it to the full diagnosis level, because there's no one in my life who will take responsibility for me. No one has taken responsibility for me except God for so many years of my life.